I'm gonna go over how to make a custom character controller. This series may be 2 or 3 parts long. We'll see how long it actually takes me. But the first thing that you're going to do is go into File, make a new scene. I called this scene controller test. You can call it whatever you want, but the idea is to make this entire character controller in a separate scene so that we can make it into a prefab. And you can just allocate this prefab in however many levels you want. And the idea of having a character controller that is prefabbed is that all the scripts, all the physics, and everything associated with it will be identical because you're pretty much making a clone every time that you plop it into a scene. So it's really nice to have it that way because that way you don't need to restructure things with every scene. It's a nice way to just be efficient with your time. So what I'm going to do really quickly is just make a platform because if we don't have one, our character won't be able to collide with it and he'll just fall. So let me do that right now. Oops. Actually, where's the tiles? Tiles. Why not? I'll just take these guys. All right. Wait, hold on. See, this is why I don't like this one and I never use it. It's because it's like a square and I feel like I can't make it continuous the way that I want it to. Let me actually go to another folder that I have. You don't have all this stuff, so pardon me. But you don't really need it. Just use whatever art asset you want. There we go. That's better. All right, cool. So I have this little platform here. And then obviously to make it work, we need a collider for it. Add component box collider 2D. And then I made it into a empty game object. You could just make the actual tile itself, like you could have just gone into the tile and added the component there. But I just like making it separate when it's multiple, just so that I have more freedom of moving it around. Because if I plop it, if I add a component of box collider to every single tile and I want to change it in some way, I can't just do all of it together because it's not one thing, it's different tiles. So it's just a more efficient way to debug in the future, just so that you know. So let me put it right around here. Alrighty. We just need this platform one, just so that we're a bit more organized. Awesome. So now that the platform is ready, we can start creating this custom character controller. So again, this controller is going to be completely done from scratch. I realized that in the textbook in chapter 9, where I asked you guys to look for the code for a custom character controller, the code wasn't as efficient as I thought it was. So instead, all this code is a little bit different than the one in the book, but it is very similar in many ways. So the first thing that you're going to do is make a game object, an empty game object that we will add all the components to make it a controller. So right in the hierarchy, I'm just going to create empty. This one I'm just going to call alien character. Actually, no, let's call it custom alien. That way you don't get confused with the other one that you made. So we need several components in order to make this character move and do the things that we want it to do. And the first one, obviously, it's going to be a box collider 2D. That'll be allow our character to collide with objects and platforms. Then we're going to add a rigid body, and it has to be 2D. Make sure that you select the 2D. And this rigid body just gives us physics. It allows us to access all the 2D physics that Unity already has embedded, just stuff that we can have quick access to. So in here it says material. You can add a physics material. In the standard controller here, you can see, in the standard assets folder, I'm sorry, you can see another folder here called physics materials. And here it has bouncy box, slippery, sticky. So these are the type of physics that you can add to certain things. And you would just drag and drop these into the material. But we're not going to be doing that because it's just our character. We don't want our character to do that right now. But it's something to be knowledgeable of that you can add to in certain levels or when you reach certain platforms. But yeah, so we're going to need a rigid body. That will allow us to move and to have gravity and weight. The other thing that we are going to add is going to be an animator. And make sure there's animator and not animation. You want this guy right here. So this is an animator controller, which is what we're going to make first, is actually, it controls all the animations and transitions for our character. So it's a little bit of work and it's a lot of information to take in, but it's very efficient for animations. Before you had to code all of the animations within a script, and that was pretty annoying. So this way is pretty a lot easier to do. Let's see what else we need. Oh yes, we need a sprite render. And the sprite render will allow us to see the images of the character. Really, not necessarily see the image. Like right now, I'll show you. So here in sprite render, it has a sprite slot. And I'm just gonna bring in from our player the idle sprite, which is front. Actually, I'm tired of using the green guy, so I'll use the red guy. See, it allows us to see it. It's gonna resize it a little bit. Too small. Alright. So yeah, if we didn't have anything in there, then you wouldn't be able to see. But this will allow us, I believe, I'm not quite certain, but I believe that the sprite render does allow us to see all animations happen. The reason why I say I'm not sure that's true is because when we make the animator, it's just a separate thing. So I'm not entirely sure how that operates. I'm not an engineer. Like, I don't know everything about Unity. Okay, what is another thing that we need? Am I forgetting anything? Oh yeah, so in the rigid body stuff, I'll show you later, but here you have a mass slot and you have the gravity scaled slot. These are the things that you can debug and kind of change depending on how you want your character controller to move and to perform. I'm going to ask that you freeze it in the Z because it's a 2D game. We're only going to be doing X and Y coordinates. So always freeze on the Z. And the interpolate, we're going to want the interpolate to interpolate. Don't ask me why we have to do that. It's just something that I was taught to do. And I don't remember the explanation for it. But if you are curious as to why, just look it up in the Unity API. We definitely want it to always be awake so that it starts the rigid body physics is activated as soon as we hit the play button. Discrete collisions, you don't have to worry about that. And I believe everything here is normal. Okay. Let's see what else we're missing. So we're missing a script, which is going to be our custom character script. So you'll want to, you can actually go to your scripts folder and create new C# scripts and just call it custom character controller. I'm not going to do it because I actually already wrote it right here, but you can check the name here. Just no spaces. Make sure you don't have any spaces. And we'll start coding in a minute. But let me go back to the alien. So let me just drag that script into my character. So that script also has a required audio component that it attaches. That's why this just appeared. And this will be for like the damage sound and the coin collection sound and the jumping sound. That's why this is here. And just uncheck play on awake. Cool. So I will show you all this in a second, but before I actually go and do scripting, I'm going to go to the animator and actually make all the animation nodes. And what else am I going to make? Oh yeah, and the transitions for it. So what we're going to do is go to the animations folder. You should have an animations folder that you created. If you don't, make it again. And it's a separate animations folder than the standard assets, because in the standard assets they have one too. But we're not going to go in there. Another question that people asked me was, are we adding all our new scripts to our regular scripts folder, like underscore scripts, or are we going back like we have done in the past few weeks and actually add the scripts within the standard assets? The answer to that question is no. We are no longer going to be even touching standard assets anymore. That's just something for prototyping that you can plop in and use when you're a beginner or when you really want to make a rough draft of something. But we are done with all standard assets. What we want is everything custom made. So you're going to go to the scripts folder that you created. And that's where you're going to allocate all these new scripts that you're going to be doing today. Because we're going to do 2. Make sure that that custom character controller is there. So in the animations folder that you made, you're going to create a new animation controller. I have already made one prior, but I'll make a new one. I'll call it custom alien again. And double click it, and you'll see the default animation states. So you should have any state, you should have an entry node and an exit node. That's what you should have. So now we can actually start making all these animations. So there are 4 animations that you need. You need an idle, you need a walk, you need a jump, and then you need damage. So you make an animation node by right-clicking Create State, Empty. And your first state is going to be orange like this. And this one we're going to rename, actually over here. I'll name it idle. By the way, if you accidentally make something like the way that I did, that I made a transition by accident, the way to delete nodes is by holding Control-Shift-Delete or Command-Shift-Delete. That's how you would get rid of it. Alright, so now we have an idle. Let's make a walk. Oops. Right here. Jump. And damage. Now we need to start making transitions. So you'll definitely want to transition between idle and walk to idle. So you make a transition by clicking on the node and right click, make transition, and you'll have this arrow. And then we're just going to attach it right to the walk. Going to highlight walk, make transition again to idle. Now you have these parallel lines. We're going to do the same for idle to jump and jump to idle, and then from walk to jump and jump to walk. And then damage, to be honest, damage can be at any state. It doesn't matter where you are or what's going on. So I'm just going to make a transition from any state to damage, like so. Alright. So in order for these transition nodes to work, you can see on the settings here that it says cannot preview transition source state does not have motion, and that is because I haven't set any parameters to it and I haven't set up any animations clipped to the nodes. So what you want to do first is to highlight, click on all your nodes by highlighting them one by one, and you're going to attach the animation clip associated to it. So we have already made all of these animations within the animations clip, and I think all of these are my blue alien. So I want the red one, so I'm going to have to make new animations. So let me stop the video now so that I can make the new animations, and then we'll pick up where we left off.